even understand. I ain't about to explain what I'm about to do. I'm just about to do it, man. Hey, yo, check this out. Check this out. 1, 2, 1, 2. Once again, you know who we are. You see that logo at the top? You know what this is. But guess what? Guess what? Chris, you see that logo? Yeah. But guess what? It's May, but we coming through like Santa Claus, and we got gifts for all of y'all. We got the OG in the building. But check this out. He ain't just in the building. He at home. He in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He in the house. He in the house like Carl. You remember when Jada Kidd said everybody he was in the hood like bootleg cable? That's what this is. Whether you're gonna be on TV, in a post-game presser, on a podcast, wherever you're at, you can't escape it. David Grubb is here, ladies and gentlemen.
So
thank you, brother.
Look, and for those, the fun part about this, like by the time you guys as viewers receive this, the news will have already came out. Everybody, you will have the introduction, but we get a chance to kind of, celebrate him a little bit early today when we're actually recording. Welcome, David Grubb, to the team, man. Long overdue. The journalist, the broadcaster, the public speaker, the writer, the journalist, the media member himself. My OG, your OG, one of the best in the building, the best in the region, as far as I'm concerned. David Grubb.
Man,
That's what we mean hand clubs.
This wild though. It's funny, and like we were talking about this before we started, just how this all came together, and it just, Chris, you know how far we go back, and we started this, and it just as two dudes, just who love basketball, and through all of that, through that relationship, got to meet Lito, got to meet Chaz, got to meet Five, got to meet Justin, all everybody, and just. It's always been a cool relationship. We always saw each other, whether it was at games or whether you guys came on my show or whether I made appearances on the pods with y'all. It's just always been a positive and cool relationship. And I think that the main thing that I'm excited about, and I think this is what excites y'all too about doing this, is that look, y'all have locked down the fan space. You know what I mean? Like nobody does fan interaction and giving a direct connection between the team and the fan base that as y'all do. But I think that the next step evolutionarily was to start getting more serious on this too, on the journalistic side. And not that y'all don't take this seriously, you do. But this is more than just entertainment at some point and just putting out content. And I think we all want to be in a position to talk about the game and have fun with it, but be intelligent about it and ask different types of questions on different days of the week. So there's a part for me to play and a role for me to play with this group. And when I get on the court, there's things that I got to do. And, like I think people can look at y'all and think that y'all are the Harlem Globetrotters and just be for entertainment. But the Globetrotters, you can't fuck with their basketball skills. You know what I'm saying? Like at the same time, you want to play straight game for 48 minutes, they'll knock you off there too. So I think that this is just that. There's fundamentals and there's fun, and we can do both. We're gonna do both, and we're gonna do it as well, if not better than anybody else.
Man, Grubb, you know what's crazy? Me and Chris had a conversation the other day, and I swear, Chris, that was what you just said was literally like that. Like I was saying, people see, they see the fun, the entertainment, but they don't really see the work and the stuff that goes into even being able to produce that. But at the same time, like you kind of take it to where like, oh, all right, well, it's just this. There's nothing else there. And yeah, no, that's real. I mean, we collectively, it's cool. Y'all think whatever y'all want to think. We here to show and prove. We here to show and prove. Don't even trip. But today, before we get started, we don't got no videos in here, but guess what we do? We're gonna fucking do it live.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Just got to do it live. Hey, man, the OG. We. If y'all been watching these shows, we've been trying to tap in with some of our favorite basketball minds. We hollered at Grubb. We said, Grubb, who the draft coming up, whose film do you want to break down? The OG said Ace Bailey. Before we get into Ace Bailey, we got to give love to Scott Vicknair and the Vicknair Law Firm, 504-500-1111. Tap in with them because they fuck with us, right? But anyways, the OG said Ace Bailey. So we here tonight. We here tonight to talk about Ace Bailey. Now, before we get started, Grubb and Chris, actually, I want to know what's like at what point in the season or what point throughout this college basketball year did you look up and say, damn, that Ace Bailey he might be something?
Grubb, you go
I'll
first.
say this. Yeah, I am not like that's gonna be the thing is this whole discussion. I'm not in love with Ace Bailey.
Oh, this is great.
I get why people like him. I get it because of the way the NBA works.
Yeah.
And like if you were just watching people, but Ace Bailey gives me major Tim Thomas vibes. Like he gives me that kind of player. Like it just where you see incredible skill. Like all the skill is there. But there are things that just in the numbers and in watching him play that just give me hesitancy about what his ceiling is as a pro. I think his floor is going to be fine because he's so skilled, but I worry about his ceiling and if he'll ever even reach it.
Chris, who the hell did we talk about yesterday? What basketball player?
Tim Thomas. No, that was it this morning? It might have been yesterday. It was either yesterday this morning.
That was yesterday.
You brought up, you was comparing, we were talking Lamar Odom and Tim Thomas.
That's crazy, man.
That's funny. So to answer your question, Lito, and I think the fun part about Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, and there's going to be some others that are going to be interesting, but Ace Bailey is such a intriguing guy to break down and kind of project going forward, is because there's so many different ways that his career could go, and no one really knows. But because of the gap between what the ceiling and the floor is, it just makes for an interesting situation. Like, how much will environment help him? How much will environment hurt him? How much will, what will he do starting out fitting in? What will he do? Is he someone who will need to be more of an individual? Will he get that opportunity early on? Because your question, Lito, about when were you like, damn, like Ace is that? Well, it was and I pulled it up here. I knew it was a particular game, and I knew Dylan Harper didn't play, and that's what caught my eye. It was a game against Indiana. He dropped 39, but he got to shoot the ball damn near 30 times. Now, there was no Dylan Harper, and Ace was in, and Ace may not say this, but if you asked him, he might tell you this was his favorite game of the season. Now, they lost this game, and that's something that I think is going to follow him, and you're going to have to keep an eye going forward. Is he going to be an empty calorie, empty scoring guy, a guy who can put up really good scoring numbers, a guy who can electrify on the floor, but doesn't impact winning, similar to a guy who doesn't impact winning in the way that you would like, similar to a guy that just left New Orleans, who, when we get into some of the NBA comparisons, he's been compared to. He's such an intriguing prospect, man, because I can see his career going in a multitude of ways, but I worry about those early years, those early first couple of years where he's going to be asked to do things that maybe he isn't in love with, or just simply isn't prepared to do as someone his size, the rebounding, the defensive element, and the having to do things on one dribble, on catch and shoots, two dribbles, as opposed to the guy who would like the basketball in his hands a little bit more, isolated the pinch post, isolated at the wing, and kind of just do his thing with the ball.
All right, look, no doubt. So look, before we get into the video, I'm gonna throw Chris, you mentioned some comps. I'm gonna throw some comps out there that I read. These are not my comps, it's just comps I read. I want y'all to just put a pin in it. After we watch the film, I'm gonna come back and ask y'all about these comps. But I just want to introduce them to y'all first. All right, so first we got, which is a recent one, Brandon Miller.
Okay.
You got Brandon Miller. That's one. You got Paul George. That's two.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Hey, girl, I'm just telling you what. I'm not gonna throw these NBA writers underneath the bus. I'm just telling you the names they're throwing out there. Rudy Gay, Michael Porter Jr. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Now we get somewhere.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna pull a film up and look. This is kind of like I don't know if you saw me, Chris, and Ivory. We just did a video about Igor Denham, and man, it was a hate watch.
Ed Carr, the pride of Ed Carr and Dillard University, Ivory.
Yeah, IC, man. Shout out to IC, man. He was gonna be here tonight. He traveling on the road with his AAU team, man. So shout out to IC. But yeah, man, that was a hate watch. Ivory does not like Igor, and wait till y'all see Yaku. Anyways, before we get started, this video is sponsored by No Ceilings NBA. Please support them. Like, subscribe, comment, support them because they've been supporting us. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, let's do it.
Let's score. Grubb, as we watch this film, do you think a guy like him made the right decision to go and play with another highly ranked prospect like Dylan Harper? Or do you think he would have been better served going somewhere else where he was going to be the main guy?
I don't know, bro.
That's a good question. I don't know if you got a whole bunch of main guy nights from him. I think, he played with 30 games this past season. And I think maybe in 10 of those, he scored 20 points or more, all season long. And you're talking about, again, when you talk about 6'10", with the shooting range that he's, got and the athleticism that he's got, those kind of nights were just too rare and too far between, especially considering how many mediocre teams that they got to go against. And you're supposed to have the best 1-2 freshman combo in the country. And I think, I think that there's a legitimate case. I get why people might say, well, you're being harder on him than you are on Dylan Harper. And I would say, yeah, because I think that I'm harder on the bigger dude in college basketball. Like, you have a much more of an ability to impact the game, even though college basketball is a guards game. I think that when you watch, Ace Bailey, you don't see a lot of times where he's outright demanding the basketball, just getting into position to say, give me the basket. Like, he's waiting for the ball to come to him a lot, and that doesn't give me lead player energy.
Yeah, Grubb, and that's what was interesting to me. There were games where I was looking strictly for him, and he just disappeared, or it felt like I had to remind myself that he was on the floor, and that's what I think when it comes to him, we're gonna have to figure out, like, can he maximize what he does well without the basketball and with others? Cool, you can score in transition. Cool, you're athletic. Cool, 3-4 dribbles. You can make plays. But some of these guys that he's compared to, they had to start out as catch and shoot guys. They had to start out creating off of closeouts. They had to start out with limited opportunities to do some of the things that they love to do. I look at a guy. I mean, this is exciting film and highlights to watch because it looks like a guy that could be, as his body continues to to mature and he puts on some weight, he has superstar talent, but he wouldn't be the first and he won't be the last player that has superstar talent that just wasn't able to do at the next level. You had a comparison earlier in the show, Tim Thomas. Grubb, for those that maybe weren't around to watch Tim Thomas or like remember the hype surrounding Tim Thomas, can you kind of go a little bit further into that comparison of the two?
Yeah, Tim Thomas was one of those dudes that when you talked about going straight from high school to the NBA before that was a thing. Like when it was, you had to be the number one player in the country to come out and get that kind of level. Tim Thomas was seen as a man child at 6'10", more physically mature than Ace Bailey, but perimeter skills, could handle the basketball, could shoot it from the perimeter, could post you up, dunk over anybody, that kind of athleticism, and just was seen as the evolutionary four. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the modern stretch four, but also with the ability to put it on the floor consistently. Like he was supposed to be a guy who came into the league and was 20 and 10 every night. Like that was supposed to be Tim Thomas's floor. And instead, out of Tim Thomas's career, you got really one real season where I think he was sixth man of the year or had close to getting that. But for the rest of his career, it was underachievement. And just there were nights when he looked unguardable and, put those kind of numbers. But like some of those comparisons, like the guys that you talk about when you say a Michael Porter Jr., okay. But is Michael Porter Jr., like if you're getting Michael Porter Jr. at 3 in the draft, and you think about that, you talk about you want a franchise-changing player at 3. That's what Pelicans fans are looking for if they end up at 2 or 3, and then you get an Ace Bailey. You're talking about you want has Michael Porter Jr. been a franchise-changing player? No, he's a guy that when he gets hot, man, you don't want to deal with him on those nights. He could give you 40. He could absolutely do it, and he could do it on 12, 13 shots if he's really going. But on most nights, your goal is don't let Michael Porter Jr. get hot, which is a hell of a lot different than saying we have to stop Michael Porter Jr. And I think that's what you get with Ace Bailey right now in his career is when you look at him as he feels like a guy is don't let Ace Bailey get going rather than we have to stop Ace Bailey, because it seems like there are a lot of nights where Ace Bailey stops himself.
That Tim Thomas critique was incredible, man. Tim Thomas was like Memphis Bleak for me. Like everybody was like, man, that next Bleak album, that's gonna be the one. He really just one hit away. Tim Thomas was always just one jump shot away, one dribble away. He just never.
Sometimes he was a week away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he give you a great week, give you 30 back-to-back nights, and just light people up, and then they'll go a month and he won't give you more than 10 on any night. That was the Tim Thomas experience. But he had all the skills. But I mean, like, look at like you said, you go into those college comps, and Ace Bailey compared to those guys, just look at their college stats. Tim Thomas is a one and done, right? Look at the other one and dones that you might compare to. There was times when people compared Ace Bailey to Kevin Durant. There was a moment when he first came in, they wanted to call him Kevin Durant. But if you compare him to guys, Lauri Markkanen, you compare him to Tim Thomas, you look at the Ace Bailey's freshman year numbers don't touch theirs when it comes to things like win shares, rebound percentage, effective field goal percentage, those kinds of numbers, the things that you want to see translate from one level to the next. The only thing that Ace Bailey measures up with all of those guys is being able to block shots. But everywhere else, he comes in last if you stack him up with those people that you're comparing him to already. And some of those other ones that I'm talking about, like a Lauri Markkanen, who you'd say, if the Pelicans got Lauri Markkanen this year in a trade, would you rather have Lauri Markkanen right now or what Ace Bailey could be in 3 years? I think that at the best, Lauri Markkanen is your hope. You get what Lauri Markkanen is giving you now out of Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna take Lauri. I get the one thing I get if I gotta give him some shine. I like the consistency of his jumper. We've been watching a lot of these college guys. Feels like every time they shoot the ball, it's a different shot. I don't know it's hard to explain that, but like the shooting pocket is not exactly the same on every possession. Ace, you can tell this is what he does. Like he's been grooming himself. He's been groomed to do that. Now I want to get to the playmaking part of this film because 1.3 assists, that just ain't gonna do it, brother.
See, and that's why I really like the Rudy Gay comp. Now, like Rudy played a couple years in college, and Rudy, I think Rudy went like 9th or like 7th, 8th. So, okay, there we go. So he And you're looking at some of these later and later like mock drafts that are coming out and these big boards, and guys like Trey Johnson are slowly starting to pass him up. Guys like there's there are people that have Ace going 5th. Will that change? Will that, I mean, we'll have to see what, as some of the interviews take place and, post lottery, and where some of these how things align. But I like the Rudy Gay comp just from, the perspective of, I think, like Rudy, even in college, was a dude that was like a 1 assist player. He just, he's a little bit bigger than Ace, so he might be a lot of him. He got him at least by 15 pounds in college. But you're talking about a scorer. You're talking about a dude that is supposed to be a plus rebounder. They're both around the same height. The athleticism is there. The shot making, the shot versatility is all there. But Rudy's career, as athletic as he was, as talented as he was, as much as he can put the ball in the bucket, teams more times than not got better once he left. Like, he was a part of what was supposed to be the early stages of grit and grind, but the best parts of that are without him. He goes to other places, goes to places like Toronto, puts up numbers. I forget where he went after that. But he's always been a guy who was able to put the ball in the bucket, but there was just always something missing in regards to making teams better and winning basketball, or being as a front of, the pecking order on the team. So, I wonder for Ace, would that be a caution? Is that a cautionary tale for him to follow, or is that something that maybe he can build on? Because that's, I mean, to me, Michael Porter Jr., I mean, that might be what's best for him long term. In all honesty, look at 5. That might be what's best for him long
What's
term.
happening?
But I don't know if early on that's what I expect him to be. I like the Rudy Gay comp.
5. Before we get deep in the film, we was talking about Ace Bailey. We talking about I brought up a couple of pro comps that some NBA writers wrote. Before we move on, what is your impression of Ace Bailey, like, as a basketball player? Like, what do you see ceiling wise for him?
Ceiling wise, I think he's the most talented player in the draft, to be honest. Right. To be honest, he reminds me of Brandon so much. And I know that sounds crazy, but he does. Just the amount of difficult shots he takes. I don't love it, but I don't necessarily hate it, if that makes any sense. He seems like, right, like the form is there, right, as well. He's not afraid of anything. He takes all challenges, especially like on the offensive end. But if I were to give him a player comp, I don't know. I think I caught the tail end. Y'all said Rudy Gay. I like that, but I think he's more agile than Rudy. So I wouldn't mind that comp. I think we get into these comps and these guys don't fit in necessarily mold all the time. But if you were to mix it a little bit, I think he's more Brandon than he is Rudy. But I don't think he's there yet. But he does take a lot of difficult shots like Brandon. So, like, right there.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm not mad at that Brandon.
A lot of difficult shots.
I ain't mad at that.
Shots.
But the mentality, you can't, like. Yeah, like that's the thing.
I would think Brandon maybe.
No, what you were saying? Go ahead.
Like I would say, Brandon probably was a little bit, Brandon more capable as a passer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that part of Ace's game really being developed, because I don't think that's ever been. Like, I don't think he's ever been the dude who helps anybody. Like, he's been told, you the bucket. Like, that's your job, is to be the bucket. So that's how he views himself. And I think when you think about when he comes into the NBA, if you don't give him that opportunity, like, I think his confidence is directly tied to his ability to put points on the board. If you don't give him opportunity to score easy buckets, and if it gets hard for him, that's a dude who could take a month to get out of a shooting slump. You know what I'm saying? As a rookie, like, if you don't, you have to have a franchise that understands that emotionally this dude views himself as a scorer. And that is something you have to cultivate immediately. You cannot try to turn him into a role player in year one and then make him a scorer. You got to find ways to let him be, because I think that's his essence. And I think there are certain players, I'm not saying he's the first one to ever come into the league that way. You know what I'm saying? I think there's some dudes that you got to find a way to lean into the one skill that they have, or mentally it's going to be a lot harder for them to ever get to their ceiling.
To piggyback off that, Grubb, I think a lot of guys like Ace come into the league super talented, and the league has this, just does this almost prematurely, will just force a guy to be a 3-and-D guy. And I get it, you're trying to get a guy on the floor, he's trying to fill a role, but you just cut his legs off immediately. Gets into the NBA, and I'm like, you don't give a guy a chance to flourish. And again, everybody's not given a chance to flourish, like nobody. But I think a guy like Ace, if you're going to draft him, top 3, you have to give him the ability to fail first, to figure it out on his own and with help. If you're not going to give him a chance to do that, you probably just shouldn't draft him.
Yo, I just 1 second. Go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. And then
I was just gonna say, like, floater off the left. Like, this is a hell of a floater. It was a great shot. I'm with Five about his talent level. I'm with Grubb though on the actual fit on the NBA team, because I mean, hell, everybody's played basketball. You know this person. If they can't get their rhythm within the first 5 minutes of a game, they just might be out. It might be cooked. You might just got to holler at them next week. And franchise, depending on, like, literally his skill set is literally tied to having a coach with, going to a franchise with a foundation and having a coach whose offensive genius will allow him to let Ace develop. Like, he can't come here. If we could just stop the film right here. He can't come here. That'd be the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Motherfuckers watching this pod, 27 minutes and 20 seconds is like, well, got my answer.
So this is where I got this. I feel like some of the great players, they, as great as they are, they ruin the game. And this is what Kevin Durant ruined the game of basketball, because everybody sees that shit, and anyone over 6'8" or 6'9" think that they can do it. So while KD might be shooting over a chair, like, Ace is shooting over a gate. He thinks that that's just normal ways and assets of playing the game, because it's so easy, or it looks so easy for him, and he's turned into difficult shots. Like, some of these shots that he's taken, KD maybe didn't take as often early on. He didn't take maybe as often, maybe year 1 or year 2, consistently as a crucial part of his game. And if he did, he made it look a lot easier. But for Ace has to find his own identity. He got to figure out who the fuck Ace Bailey is going to be. It can't be, we giving these comparisons and so on and so forth. But that's one of the worst things that could happen for a kid like him, like Five and like Grubb was saying. It's no different when a guy now gets compared to Steph Curry, or guys get compared to other players that change the trajectory of the game. It's just not made for players to succeed. And didn't have a crazy comp, All
right, hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Chris. Hold on 1 second. This possession really just pissed me off.
What?
This just pissed me off. Hold on. Where we at? 11:59. This just pissed me off. Bro, pass the ball, bro. What are you doing? Hold on, man. Let's go back to the beginning of this possession. This man is double teamed in the corner. He's double, bro. Everybody, just look under the basket for me. Just look under the basket.
Ace wake up in the morning and look at the basket in the mirror. That's the only basket he see. is the one in the mirror.
Like, son, come on, son.
I mean, what I want to know
That's not what he does.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
If he's destined to just be a bucket getter, what is that worth in this draft?
Let me just say this.
That's the worst thing in the world.
I think it depends. Again, like as Five says, and I think it's one of the things that he always says. Everything is in context, and I like when he says that. Like he's usually dead on with that, and it is context. What team are you sending this young man to? You know what I'm saying? Like it's detrimental in certain teams. Like we said, it's not a good fit for the Pelicans because if you don't know if you're rebuilding, if you don't know if you're trying to win tomorrow, you can't take this dude in your building. Like you have to have a plan that is Ace Bailey centric. If you are not going to do that, you are not the right team for this young man because there are things that he has to learn, things that he's never been asked to do. His college coach did not ask him to do anything that he was uncomfortable with. You know what I'm saying? And the NBA is all about how you respond as a player when you are uncomfortable, when the defense makes you uncomfortable, when the offense is making you how do you respond? He's got to figure that out. And you're talking about a young man who had more than 2 assists in a game 6 times. That shit. 6 times the whole season he had more than 2 assists. When he's handling the ball as much as he is, when he's seeing double teams as much as he is, you couldn't get more assists than that. Like there are just fundamental things that he has to work on. That's not saying he's going to be a bust, but there is work that has to be done for Ace Bailey as far as becoming a professional basketball player. And if you ain't committed to that, then yeah, it's a bad fit.
We would have a James Wiseman situation on our hands. True, like with what the Warriors did. Like, you know, I think it was drafted second, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Second.
And the talent just evaporated right in front of us. Whatever we thought James Wiseman could be, it just wasn't going to happen anymore. I don't know if it was just more so like the NBA style of play just was different. Whatever we thought just evaporated. And I would hate to see that with a guy as talented as Ace Bailey is. Ooh. See, that's the only thing, Grubb. I hear you, you know, but say you're the Pelicans and you have that third pick. And Dylan Harper and, you know, of course, Cooper Flag is gone. The talent is there. And that's the thing that worries me. Like, it is there. It is evident. You're going to just let it ride?
You got to know what kind of woman you could deal with, right? Like, there's certain women you can't date. There's certain women you can't date. You see them, and they look like they're your type.
Now we potting.
But you can't date that woman.
Oh.
But Grubb, am I right? We've all been there. We've all been like, I can do this.
But at some age, that's why you brought in Joe Dumars. He's 61 years old. Joe's supposed to know, hey, I can't chase that girl. That's not the right girl for me. I need to settle down with this one.
Nah, see, you talk about you brought up age. We just watched Shannon Sharp. We just watched the debacle. Yeah. We just watched the demise of Shannon Sharp. 50 plus years old. Getting walked down by something.
I know the 19-year-old, right? Shannon Bailey, nice.
Getting walked down by something on Bourbon Street. Like, hey.
That looked like Larry Bird.
Bruh. Where you playing at UNO? Like, it's
crazy. My bad, girl.
Oh man, some team is going to fall in love with the idea of Ace Bailey,
and they should but they should.
It's all about how you execute it, and that goes. And Grubb and Five are right in regards to you're gonna have to execute the plan. It can't just be we got this talent and we're gonna fit him into our program and we're gonna mold him into this. You have to be able to see right now that this isn't somebody that's looking to be molded right away, if ever. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen Green wasn't going to be molded when he was drafted by Houston. He was what he was. He is who he is. For better for worse, he's the same guy for the most part that he was when you drafted him. And the problem that he had early on, he's probably still having, is that, like, who do you want me to be? I can be a part of this winning program, but that might mean I'm gonna give you 9 points because I gotta put the ball up. That, like, the things that I do well, I'm not gonna be able to be maximized here, even if I'm a part of the success that we're having, and then you're gonna blame me for it. So I think of of a Jalen Green type situation, and there are others that we can think of. Is like if this are you gonna draft, you got to commit to what this dude is and be able to see it early, because more than likely he ain't changing. More than likely he's gonna stick to what he knows, and shit. Obviously, well, it's what got him here. It don't seem like it's gonna be much of a difference when we're talking about year 3. He just might be better at his strengths. That just might be who and what he is.
I think that's where the plan has to come in, right? Like the execution of the plan. It has to. That's what I'm so nervous about, right? And a lot of these guys fall victim to this, where these teams, they draft them and say, "All right, well, we want to put you in this role," and that's just not the role that they're going to play, right? That it just doesn't fit their game. You can look at Jalen Green in that same instance. He's super athletic, cool. He can put the ball in the bucket, great. But what did Houston add to his game early on to benefit him and the team? What would, adding Ace Bailey to the Pelicans, what can they add to his game? That's the thing that I'm super scared about, because we'll just have another instance of a guy just having to figure it out on his own, and that's just not right for a 19-year-old.
About Jabari Smith. You know what I'm saying? If you want to talk about another similar dude of recent vintage, look at those college those numbers for Jabari Smith and what he did at Auburn, and how similar it is to Ace Bailey's numbers. Except Jabari was a better three-point shooter. Jabari came in as a 41% three-point shooter coming out of college. Ace is 34%? So, I mean, Jabari 6'10", Jabari 220 coming out, all those things. A dude who thought of himself as a bucket getter. And when he got to the Rockets, they said, that's not your role anymore. You 3 and D. Like, we're going to limit you. We're going to turn you into 3 and D. And Jabari has never turned into as a third pick. The same position we talked about in the draft. Third pick, Jabari Smith is still trying to figure out what he is in the NBA. And that's what you can end up with that in the wrong team for Ace Bailey. If you put him with a group that a bunch of kids, already got a bunch of 20-year-olds. Like if he ends up in Portland, someplace like that, you know what I mean? Like where you got nothing but kids around and you're trying to figure out who the star is, man, you lose a dude like Ace Bailey in the shuffle. You have to allow him to get 15 to 17 shots every night. And if he only makes 5 of them 17 that night, you got to live with it. And if he makes 12 of them 17, then you got to live with, like, whatever it is first year, you have to allow that man to fail. And the Pelicans do not have that kind of space to let a rookie come in. And they don't have the coach to let a rookie come in and fail the way that Ace Bailey needs to fail as a rookie.
So that means Brooklyn at 6 is the place he needs to go.
Ooh, him and Cam Thomas?
Him and whoever.
I got it. Just a quick statement. It's kind of fucked up, but I think the league itself is, pulling themselves back on giving the keys to these young guys. Like it's not about to happen as frequently as people think. Like he's, even if like a number 1 draft pick, I don't know if Cooper really gonna get the keys like people think. Like it's just not happening. Like they're not responsible enough anymore. They're just not. They're just not built for that. To be honest, I don't even think they want it half the time. I think it comes with more responsibility than they truly believe. And I wouldn't, if I was a GM or an executive, I wouldn't want to do it. I can, not to give Griff any shout out, but I can see why a Griff would say this is Drew's team early on to take the pressure off of Zion. It's almost necessary because these guys ain't got it all. They're not mature enough for that. It comes with too much responsibility.
I listened to Kevin Garnett the other day talk about how you can't even coach these guys. They can't take critiques to their game. How am I supposed to coach you if I can't tell you what you're doing wrong? But question. I mean, we're looking at Ace is blocking the hell out the ball. Do y'all think that Ace can come in and hold his own defensively?
I think he's too light. I think Yeah, I don't see. I think he will have some battles in regards to some of the strength that he lacks. Some of the, I mean, the overall physical strength. I'm assuming that he'll probably be a little bit heavier than his college weight by the time the season starts. But that's going to be the transition that he's going to have to deal with, like most guys that he's been compared to had to deal with, or even someone like Trey Murphy had to deal with when he first got in the league. Like that strength element, I remember talking to Trey's dad, once, and I remember, they were talking about they had a 3-year plan, and they knew, for example, that the strength element for him would take at least 2 years, to fully, get where they thought it would make the most sense for a guy. So for a guy like Ace, who you're talking about playing the 3, I would say playing the 3 and the 4, but it looks like we're getting, we're slowly switching back to, some bigger lineups, some double, some double bigs, 4 real 4s and real 5s together. So maybe he will be more of a traditional 3, and you won't have to worry about him spending too much time in small lineups at the 4. But you gotta imagine, man. I mean, there's gonna be many nights where 205, 200 at the 3, bro. It's just not gonna get it done. It's not gonna get it cut. So defensively, will he be able to put up some highlights? Will he be able to get some chase down blocks, use his athleticism? Sure. But he also gonna have nights where he's gonna be in foul trouble. He also gonna have nights where he can't get off the screen, or nights where he's just bullied the hell out the way. So, and that might take a couple of years to kind of get together.
Listen. We 41 minutes into the pod. We watched Ace Bailey play offense. We seen playmaking. We seen defense. I'm gonna ask y'all the question I've asked every pod. You've got the 6th pick in a draft. You're the Pelicans. Ace Bailey is available. What are you doing?
I'm making a call. Yeah,
because if you fell to 6, that's a problem. Like, I'm already wondering if other people have passed. Like, I'm letting that dude go because, like, clearly, nobody jumped up. Like, that's the two things that I'm thinking about if I'm at 6 and he's falling that far. Nobody jumped past me to get him, and the people all in front of me had a chance to take him and didn't. So why are they not taking this dude? And then if I'm looking positionally and I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, what do I need the most? Okay, and the 3 things I think you need the most as the Pelicans, I need length and athleticism defensively. I need ball handling and decision making on the perimeter, and I need shot making. He gives you one of those 3 things. I think that there are players who can give you 2 of those, and that's where I think the difference would be for me, is that he gives me shot making. He's not going to give me playmaking. He's not giving me athleticism on defense. And I have a team that needs moving out. And I'm adding a rookie to the mix of all this. So I need a rookie who's going to, that I don't need to babysit as much. And again, I think with Ace Bailey, you need a plan that is Ace Bailey specific. And if you are rebuilding with the Pelicans, you're not going to do that properly. I don't see that. And if you're trying to win with Zion Williamson, it doesn't fit for him. I think it's a bad situation to have him trying to figure this thing out. And his skill set is too similar to Trey Murphy's. So I think you are compromising the growth of both of those players, because Trey needs his shots. You got to get him his shots if he's on the roster. And if you're bringing in Ace Bailey, they're going to be playing and standing in the same spots.
5.
Yeah, I'm making calls to see who wants to, move up in the draft. Maybe the Pelicans going to have a plan of picking up a draft pick, or, getting somebody later on in the first round, that sort of thing. Maybe somebody that, has a couple years in college that you don't need to babysit, that kind of fits your timeline a little bit more. But if you do, if you say you do get Ace Bailey, you draft him at 6, I think that allows you to play him in the G League. I think that allows you to start him there if you wanted to. That's just my opinion, because if you're trying to get him shots, you can't get him shots in the NBA at this current moment, because you need Trey, you need Zion to almost create some synergy. You don't really have time to bring on a rookie at that point. That way you can kind of develop him on your own on the side, and then bring him along, and he can try to figure out how he can integrate himself into the NBA. But that's just my opinion on it.
Bonzi Wells, what you got?
Yeah, man, I'm typically pro talent, pro pro talent and figure it out, especially in this market, with New Orleans. And I guess if there was a situation where, the only way I would say it would make sense is if I know by then that Zion Williamson is being traded, because I think Ace needs room, and it would be a disservice to everybody involved to have him here. You would have another Jabari Smith situation, again, to where Jabari's at press conferences asking, at the NBA Finals, asking players like, he's looking like, he lost his confidence I think he even said that, like, what am I doing? He's trying to figure out who he is. He has to retool and rework everything, like he's not the player that he was at Auburn. And it may not be in regards to what he can or can't do. It's just what he's had to turn into. So, it's like, someone's gonna have to unlock him. If it's why people were questioning exactly what was going on, what Evan Mobley would be. It took a certain situation, a certain coach to say, no, we are going to maximize you by putting the ball in your hands more, because you're the person that gets us from, a team that's maybe a second round team to a team that can contend in a conference championship, the NBA Finals type setup. You got to be able to see that. You have to be able to pick those guys when you have those talented players. So, I mean, for Ace, I don't want him in a situation where he's questioning what he is, or he's in a situation to fail right away. He needs as much space, as much, a talent deficient roster. And like Grubb said, 15, 17 shots a night to figure this shit out. And what will probably be, a year of a lot of losing, year one, which I think will work for him.
Do y'all, okay, let me ask y'all this. Go ahead, Grubb. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say, like, if we look at what Joe Dumars says he's prioritizing as well. The questions that you get when other scouts are talking about Ace Bailey, when they talk about his question marks, effort is one of those question marks. Like you can't do that. Not now. Not with this organization. Like, you have just made this public stand on we're going to be getting guys who, when they come in the building, that they want to play basketball and they want to compete for this city. You can't have any question with the first pick that you take of this new regime that this dude is going to compete every day. And that's one of the things that, no matter the scout says, you got to get consistency out of Ace Bailey. That can't be on your list of concerns. It can't be, because if that falls through the cracks, the first player that you get, you can undermine this thing before it even gets started. That's all it takes is one story this offseason of Ace didn't feel like coming to this workout, or Ace didn't doing this. One thing, just one. And everybody goes, ain't nothing changed. Same Pelicans. Same Pelicans. So do you want to do that too? And that's not fair to Ace Bailey per se, but it's the reality of the situation when you're the New Orleans Pelicans.
You're muted, Lito.
My bad. Stupid ass people and their dogs next door. I'm sorry. Let me ask y'all this. Start with you, Chris. Do you think Ace's scoring will translate to the NBA though?
Oh, without a question. I mean, easily. It's not even. He's going to have multiple years where he's averaging 20 points per game. It's just a matter of how long. How long does that get? How long before it gets? People are tired of it. People are saying your scoring isn't worth me paying a lot of money for it because you can't do anything else. You're not willing to do anything else. Definitely a bucket, but if I think you're nothing but if I think you are Imani Bates on steroids, what exactly is that? How far? What can I do with that if I'm a winning organization? Can I even sell tickets with that? I should be able to. I think I can sell tickets. I think it can be exciting. And then that's just that element, because one of the things that Grubb said, and it was a thing that I saw, while watching him, I don't know. Ace doesn't appear to have that mental thing, that sickness that people have that makes great, terrifying scorers. It was something about him playing with Dylan Harper, and not that he had to get in the way, not that he had to, be the, necessarily step into Dylan Harper's lane of sorts. But Ace, like Ace should have been the guy with, like, we own this, we co-own this. This is us together. We are gonna be drafted around the same. We are here together to do this. And it didn't feel like it was a co-op. It didn't feel like that. It felt like a lot of nights when you watched them, it was Dylan Harper.
show.
And I had to remind myself that Ace Bailey was on the floor. I don't like that. And mentally, that makes me wonder, like, are you mentally Michael Porter Jr.? Nothing. I'm not saying that'd be a great career for him or solid career, but your talent says you should be better than that. So, that's what I want. And that's why I asked Grubb in the beginning of the show, would he have benefited going to a school where it was no Dylan Harper, where it was just about Ace Bailey?
I remember when they both said that they were going to go to Rutgers. I thought it was going to be like Jameer Nelson in oh my God, at St. John's. That wasn't St. John's.
St. Joe's.
St. Joe's. I thought it was going to be that kind of feel, right? Like Jameer was the catalyst, but Delonte would, it was a 1-2 punch for real. It didn't feel like that at Rutgers. It just didn't. No, just not from what I saw. So I'm with Chris to a point where, like, you would watch the games and you wouldn't even know that a top 3 talent is on the floor. That's not supposed to happen. Like, it's just not. Like, I don't think Rutgers was really a really good team, to be honest with you. Like, they just weren't. And part of that because he didn't reach his full potential there, or even get close to it, in my opinion. For a guy that shoots as much as he does, I think it'll translate, but to possibly hear about, like, his motor is low worries me. Like, I should hear that he lives in a gym. For a guy that shoots as much as he does, I want to hear that guy's always in the gym working on. So that correlates. You shoot a lot, you practice a lot. What's the oh my God, former Knick, he was a coach at he said he was talking to his team, Big East tournament. I think it's Georgetown. He was saying, "Do you shoot that shot?" Yeah, Patrick Ewing. He was like, "Do you shoot that shot in practice? Do you work on that shot?" I want to hear that Ace Bailey works on all the dumb shit that he shoots in the game. I just want to. That's the correlation for me. Does he do on the court like an NBA game? Does he do that in practice and workouts? Does that correlate to a real game? And that would make me, feel good about a pick like that. But if it doesn't, stay away from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If he not a sicko with his skill set, if he not like a basketball sicko, I'm not messing with him. Like, if you got that kind of ability, that kind of guy, not only a God-given ability, but you can tell he's clearly defined parts of his game. He's worked on it. But if he's not a sicko, I can't believe in him, because I already have questions about Grubb said motor, right? You could see that a little bit in the video. Like, it's a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Like, the other thing with him is y'all said, Chris kind of brought up like a beta mentality, and you just got out of a relationship. You just got out of that relationship. One couldn't survive a 14 couldn't really, one here, I'm not gonna play the way I probably like, bro. Are you here to play basketball or not?
I see a lot of Andrew Wiggins ish type, like early Wiggins of
wow,
that kind of mentality, like, and look, Andrew Wiggins became a crucial part of an NBA championship team, but look how long it took. And look,
he had to get his ass kicked. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look how
long where he had to go though. Look,
yeah. You know what I mean? I gotta go see Draymond for this to happen. Like,
and then immediately after that, you go back to being a second tier player. You know what I'm saying? Like you had 1 year where you lived up to where everybody said this is what we thought Andrew Wiggins could be, and then you just went back to being, man, if Andrew Wiggins could, he could. And I think it just feels like that dudes, because nobody learns how to win anymore. And I mean, let's just be real. In America, you do. This is what KG was talking about. In America, where do you learn how to win? You don't learn to win in high school. That's not the thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like the dudes that you used to hear about, you heard won 3 straight state championships, won the mythical national championship, won every dude that you heard about before when they were coming out of high school, going into college, it was about what they won. That's how they would define that kid. It was how they won in high school. Just ridiculous winning. Then they get to college. It was a dude you looked at it, the NCAA champion usually had to have 3 draft picks. That was the rule. Like if you don't have 3 NBA lottery players on your team somewhere, you ain't winning a national championship. So that was just winning was part of the deal. And even when dudes left early, they generally had won something when they left early. If you're talking about the Magics, the Isaiahs, when they left after sophomore seasons, it's because they had won. But now, and I'm not saying this to be the old dude on the porch. I'm saying this because literally, if we were talking about America, if we want to talk about the grand scope of American basketball, where do you learn to win? Because kids view themselves as basketball players in America as independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
That you learn the skills of basketball in a vacuum. Can I shoot? Can I dribble? Can I get to the rim? Can I do these things in a vacuum? And what I do in the game is only to showcase my individual skill set to such a point that I can get paid to do what I do. What I do with these other 4 people is immaterial until such time as you are willing to pay me. And so if that's the kind of player that I continue to import into my professional basketball league, then the search for the winner becomes so much more important. And that's why you see at the top of the MVP charts every year, it's a foreign-born dude right now because they don't get their minutes without competing for them. It is not everybody goes to practice. So that's not impressing anybody, your individual bag. You got to win to get on the court in Europe. The reason Luka was so highly sought out was at 21, he was winning European MVPs and championships. He was a winner before he came to the NBA. So that's the difference. And I think for Ace Bailey and for Dylan Harper, and the reason that Cooper Flagg jumped from being 3rd when the season started to going to number 1 is not because Cooper Flagg's more talented or athletic or skilled than Ace Bailey. He is not. But if you're looking for a guy who's going to come in and impact winning, Cooper Flagg plays like a dude who's going to impact winning and has an impressive skill set. But first and foremost, like you said, Five, if teams are are more reluctant than ever to hand their franchises over to players who are young from America in particular, then they are going to overvalue to some degree your ability to help them win immediately. And that's Cooper Flagg.
This also, we could probably talk about this for another show, but I blame this on the NBA. I truly blame. I talked about this with one of my partners a couple of days ago. Jimmy Butler should be one of the highest paid NBA players in the league, just for the simple fact that he impacts winning. Look at Jalen Brunson. I think he should be in that same threshold because he impacts winning at a super high level. Look at their college coaches. That's a given. Like it all aligns. I think we, as consumers, we get enamored with guys being able to run fast, jump high, and being able to shoot, which is great. But that doesn't necessarily lead to winning. The guys that impact winning should get paid the big bucks. And that creates a snowball effect. And people look at like, oh no, I got to be really good and be able to win to get paid. Michael Jordan talked about this. Guys are just getting paid off potential. Like he had to earn his money. He not Grubb. You talked about being, the old guy on the porch. Well, just pass me a beer and we can chop it up. I see it the same way. People should earn their money. I don't give a fuck if it was a number 1 pick. Yeah, that might be cool. But did you win anything? If you didn't, you're not getting the money that you think you're getting. And it should just be that way. Did you earn it? That's just life.
That's real, man. Well, Shit, man. I think we knocked it out the park today. You know what I'm saying? We got Ace Bailey film wrapped up. Yeah, we earned it. Nah, hey, this is an hour of a free pod. Hey, we earned this. Y'all like this a million times. As again, the OG, he home. He home. He you know what I'm saying? He been one of us, but you know, truly pod wise, he's one of us now. You know, 5 in the building, Chris in the building. Like, subscribe, comment. Please drop in the comments whose film you would like for us to break down next. And before we get out of here, make sure you count your blessings.
Rated blessings is leaving your house and making it back home every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an underrated blessing that we just assume it's gonna happen. And every single day, cats leave the crib and they don't make it back to their children. They don't make it back to their spouses. But we leave our house every single day. We just assume, like, man, I'm gonna make it back. I'll see you later, right? And it's like, man, who promised you that? And so the mindset that I've acquired as a result of my injury.
Yep, we out.